Hey folks, welcome back to WarThunder. So today's video is going to be talking about gunner parallax in Sim, because Sim seems to be an up and coming mode at the moment. People are turning to it to escape from the bullshittery of RB, especially at top tier where helicopters and CAS can just shit on you with you not being able to retaliate. Now these things might change in the upcoming patch, but I would still try and give Sim a go, honestly. I know a lot of people get turned off by a lot of things about it. There's friendly fire, there's no markers, not even for your own team, no pings on the map when people get hit, and the gunner parallax. They're all things that massively turn people off, but I feel like gunner parallax might be the one key thing, because people think that weak spot sniping is, borderline impossible, but I'm going to teach you something today, how to counter it, and you will never have that problem again. So how do you go about learning this then? So let's look at the X-ray. First port of call when you're picking a tank to play in Sim is to figure out where the gun sight actually is. Now some tanks, like the Leopard, have the gun sight in the gun mantlet. Now when parallax is at its worst is when the gun sight is high and to one side. If it's just off to one side, then what you know from RB regarding ranges and drop off will be exactly the same, and all you'll have to do is aim to the side slightly. So if the gun sight is off to the right, you have to aim a little bit to the right. If it's off to the left, you have to aim a little bit to the left. So for the Leopard, it's right of the gun from your perspective when you're driving it. So ranging and everything works exactly the same as it would, but you have to aim to the right slightly. Where it gets complicated is when the gun sight is high, very high, and off to one side. Now, in WarThunder, for the sake of simplicity, Gaijin have just modelled the gun sight and the gun to be completely parallel with each other at all times. Now, this is a problem because bullets, or rather tank shells, aren't laser beams, they drop off, which means that the drop off in Sim appears exaggerated because you're shooting from an elevated point and the shell is coming out low down. So let's just hop into a test drive and I will demonstrate. Right, so in realistic and arcade, the gun sight is inside the gun barrel, which means that where you point is exactly where the gun is pointing, and all you have to do is account for the shell drop. In Sim, your gun sight and your gun are perfectly parallel with each other, but the ballistics of the shell cause the shell to drop off, so this horizontal line that you use as a crosshair, if you don't do anything with it, then it will never converge with your shell. So if you watch now, the shell will go low left. It will never hit the mark at all. What this means is that even for targets this close, I will fail. I might miss completely, I definitely won't get a kill shot. See what I mean? So how do you counter this? Well, you watch where the shell goes, and then you adjust your sight for the drop-off point. What you're doing here is you're removing, like how the sight and the gun never converge, they're in perfect parallel, but what this does is make them converge. Now you'll still have to aim off to the right, but you won't have to account for the drop anymore, or it won't be as exaggerated. You'll be able to shoot as if you were playing RB. Now I'll have to aim right, but I'm going to aim for the turret front to the right of the gun. That's exactly where I hit. Let's give another example. Let's aim for the driver's port on the T64B. I have to aim slightly to the right, but I hit it. Now, where this becomes a little more complicated is at long range. Because the range laser comes from your gun barrel, you also have to account for the parallax when you're getting a laze, which means that you can't look at the center of something and laze it, because 1,000 meters, what you're doing there is you're actually ranging the ground just in front of it to the left. So you have to aim at the top right of it, because the gunner sight is high right of the gun, and that will give you the actual range. Now, if I set for 1300, which I can't do, but let's say I'm set for 1300, and I aim center mass, it's going to go low left. So, to account for this, you add 200 meters. This is countering the parallax by adding the height difference to your range. And all I have to do now is aim right slightly, and it will go bang on where the horizontal line is. So again, let's go for a driver's port shot. Tiny bit low, but that was probably me. Let's give another example just to show that I'm not bullshitting you. Let's drive somewhere up this hill. I want to get something like 1500 meters, and I'm going to hit something that's perfectly at 1500 meters, bang on the money. Let's aim for that hill. So the top of that hill is 1625 meters away. So if I aim for 1800, because I'm adding 200 meters, that dirt mound is bang on where I was aiming. Let's try something else. Sight lines aren't very good. Where's that shulker? There. What's the range to that? 1150. Okay, so 1350. Let's try and hit the radar dish. This is going to be difficult, but the elevation is correct. So he's moved a little bit further away now. Okay. Bang on. See, so weak spot sniping with this system is easy, to the point where you can hit a tank exactly where you want, just as if you were in RB, but you have to set a range finding key, and you have to set a sight adjustment. So let's have a look at how you do that. Easiest way to set a sight adjustment is with the mouse wheel. Usually it's on zoom. You don't really need a zoom, especially in sim, where you're already like in the commander's view anyway. So like now it's doing, it wouldn't do anything because I can't, I'm pressing a Z, which is my toggle key for zoom. Now it works in the view like this, but for the you know, it's pointless having the mouse wheel on zoom when it doesn't do anything, so you might as well have it on sight adjustment. And if you don't want to use the mouse wheel, then literally right at the end here, you can set keys for up and down and a key for reset. So for me, I don't know why it says prior, that's just kind of confusing, but I've got page up and page down. And you can also set how sensitive it is. But yeah, you can set this this multiplier, which basically means that the higher you have it, the bigger adjustment one click of the mouse wheel will make. And similarly with this, if you add relative control and you change this relative control sensitivity, 10 is the lowest, but if you up it, then that will change the speed that it ranges by huge amounts, you see what I mean? So you can be pretty precise with it if you mess around for long enough. But anyway, there is one other thing that I want to show you, and that is a quick cheaty shortcut. Instead of having to fire off a shell into the distance and manually figure out where the convergence point is, let's use another tank just to show you that something that I'm less familiar with. Put it into arcade and go into controls. Actually, no, it's not controls, it's options. Tank battle settings. Now, I have it on already because I play with gun sights enabled on all modes, but if you have it off, it will be off by default more than likely. Put it on and then do an arcade test drive. Now, this white line shows you exactly where the point of aim is, and you'll notice that if you, for most ranges, it's around 1100 meters, as you'll see. So for this tank, I would use 1100 meters as my default range. And as per the Challenger, because the gun sight is on the roof of the 264 as well, the driver's on the left there, it's that big box in front of him. You add 200 meters again, so 1300. I want to add to like 1450, that'll do. And then because the gun is on the right, look, you want to aim off to the left slightly. So let's go for that. And with the weak spots again, set it to 1100. That's our crossover, our convergence range, if you like. If you want to aim for the turret ring and hit the turret ring, just aim at the turret ring and hit the turret ring. The system works and it's incredibly simple. Now, it doesn't work if you change ammo. Your 0 will no longer apply. Actually, so that's the standard. Now, because the heat drop-off is so much more severe, 1100 for darts becomes 300 for heat. Now, you'll see that that doesn't work. But you'll also see that if you aim off into the distance using this arcade system, it tells you that 1200 meters is your 0 point. This isn't the case. The reason it's doing this is because the arc is so high that that's your second 0 point. Think of it like your sight line is one straight line and the shell is an arc. Now the arc passes up above the sight line and then it comes back down on top of it. For the dart ammo, we were setting the first crossover point as our 0, which for heat, if I remember right, is about 500 meters. So you'll see the shot will rise level with the crosshair and then fall back down. See? Any range beyond that, the drop-off is so severe that it becomes your second 0 point. That's just how insanely heavy the drop is. So that's 700 meters away. But if you add 200 meters, like we were saying, that becomes 900 meters. And as you'll see, the cross is bang on the horizontal line again. So it works for all shell types. See, I'm not familiar with the gun, but yeah, it's simple, straightforward, easy to use, and it works for every tank. The only time it doesn't work or doesn't apply is when the gun sight is perfectly level with the gun barrel, and in that instance all you need to do is aim off to the side to account for the horizontal parallax. With this you'd have to aim off to the left. With Western tanks you have to aim off to the right. But in a nutshell, it's simple as that. It's very easy to use, anyone can do it. It just involves setting up 2 lots of keybinds. And now, all of you go jump in a sim queue and try it out so that I have more people to play with and the queue time isn't as long. So that's been my short little guide on how to aim in sim. I hope it's helped you out. It might have hopefully tempted some of you to give it a go. Just remember to check whether the gun sight is first, and if you're one of those absolute arseholes that covers your tank in bushes, don't cover your gun sight up because yeah, you won't be able to aim. Thanks a lot for watching. Cheers, and I will see you in the next one.